that's what has been so magical to me in the transition of the way that the wedding industry has evolved is just being able to do things because you intend to and because it means something to you and not because you feel like you have to.
Welcome everybody to the Business of Luxury Weddings podcast. Today, one of our all-time favorite human beings, Sarah, the incredible Sarah from Gather Event. Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk with you too, and just really impressed and thrilled with what you're doing here in this space.
Yeah, it's always great to see you. We were just saying earlier, it's like with you guys, how long have we been working together now? It's like before COVID, right? It's been a few years. It's pre-COVID.
Yeah. We got
it's true love when it's pre-COVID.
PC, yeah.
Right? Like you made it through COVID. Like, yes, you're really friends.
But I was saying earlier, with you guys, it really was like love at first sight. From the moment we met you guys for our, what was that, whirlwind tour of Europe, it was just like, man, we love all of you. We really do.
Yeah, it's just so incredible to get to meet these, beautiful people that we have had our eyes on and know superfluously through the industry and through Instagram and everything that we get to see and get to actually meet and collaborate in person was a really special experience.
Yeah. Can you just take like 30 seconds and give us a quick overview? Because you've got a big team. You guys are all over the place. Tell us about Gather just a little bit briefly.
Yeah, so we are a team of five partners. We're all equal partners in the business and 2 associate planners. And we have 2 in the Pacific Northwest, one in the LA area. I'm over on the East Coast in Maine, and an associate in the Yucatan in Mexico, and a partner in Ireland and Italy. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Hey, Mexico, as you say, Mexico is new, right? That's a new addition for you guys. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, Julia is one of our newest team members, and she came to us through Hotel Esencia and is now our associate planner for the Mexico area, which has just been so wonderful to have eyes and ears and feet on the ground there.
That's amazing. Yeah, we had the pleasure of working with you guys there. What a property, right?
Yeah, wow. that was a fun one.
Yeah,
for sure. So, I mean, maybe we can just jump right into that idea, because it sounds like obviously you have a team that's global. Mm-hmm. You're in the woods in Maine.
I am.
How have you figured this out? It seems like you have a pretty good work-life balance. Because I know you garden. Like every time I text you, you're like, I'm in the garden.
I'm always. And I'm never working. And that was very intentional. We all 5 of us, my partners, Vicky, Katie, Meredith, and Cookie, all had over 10 years of experience in the business prior to us joining forces. And I never wanted to be a solo business owner, solo entrepreneur. It's always been my passion to collaborate and be part of a team that makes incredible things happen. And so, Gather went through a bunch of different iterations. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. And the most recent one has been a collaboration between these five women to grow something that supports not only our professional goals, but also our personal goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's having that. So the power. And I think, we've talked about this before with the 2 of you, just having that support and that built-in team member who's got your back, who elevates you and who brings things to the table that you wouldn't think to. It's just having that collaboration has made us a much stronger team, stronger brand.
But 5 women sound so much better than just 2 men, right? I'm just like, like whatever.
Yeah, it's actually say that because we always, when we travel together, I'm like, we have the wedding with you in Italy in May, and we have also 3 other weddings in Italy that month, and we'll be together for a month. And we've done a lot of travel like that, and just never have the issues that come up generally with long-term travel partners or spouses or.
No, you guys are the real deal. You've got some magic among you, right? You really do. The way you operate, and especially this vision for this big collaboration between the 5 of you, and it's supporting your personal lives, and that it's just so authentically you guys. And in working with you as well, it's just like It's exceptional. You guys are so great. Sorry.
I'm just thinking about, like, I know there's someone out there listening to this who feels isolated, who feels like she's a planner. She's been doing it for 10 years. She feels isolated. She feels like, if I could, I would love to do what you're saying. How did you do this? Like, what is the thing? Like, what's the key to that success? Because I'm sure five people, male or female, like that's a lot of people. Collaboration is hard sometimes. What's the key to that success?
That's a great question. I think for us, and I think in a lot of situations also, it's finding the right people. And to do that, there's a lot of trial and error. We went through a lot of team members over the years, and I am just so grateful for all of the people that have come through the Gather team and have really supported us in growing to where we are. But finding those people that have the same work ethic. I think work ethic, talent and creativity and all of that is a lot of times is inherent and can be trained to some extent, can be fostered and encouraged, but really that work ethic and that commitment to showing up and being excited about getting the job done that's something that's hard to find. And for us, I think we've found that in a way that just feels very natural to us and our team. I think also being really honest and transparent and communicative about everyone's strengths and challenges and playing to those, totally. It's hard for me to stay up past 8:30 p.m. So Meredith till 3 a.m. They've got you. I will be there at 5 a.m. when, things start unloading, but it's things like that. And really is a lot of experience, a lot of trying things and debriefing afterwards and what worked well, what needs adjustment and kind of fine tuning, I think.
Yeah. Hours, right? You've put the hours into those relationships. There's trust. It's like a skill. You've put in your 10,000 hours. You're like, I know where you are. You know where I am, and we can move. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But I love that you point out work ethic because that's so foundational, right? I think about the collaboration between Otto and I. Like, that's the one thing I might question, all sorts of things in our relationship.
Oh, really?
But there's always
all sorts of things.
There's always this, it's like being married. There's like, there's always something that comes up in your relationship. But one of the things I never question is like this work ethic. Like, I know we're both going to be like full on 100% committed, putting in the effort. And I think that's so foundational to like a partnership. Yeah.
It is so foundational. And it's something that we strive to be present in all of our partnerships, whether that's with our clients, with our vendor partners, with our venues. It's so important to have that dedication and that communication there, and just trusting your partners and knowing that they are going to show up and do what needs to be done to have something be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's huge.
Well, and to the point of work-life balance, right? You can't have that balance unless you have the trust to know, like, when it's work time, your partner is putting in 100% effort. There's no half-assing it. There's no in between. At least I think for our partnership, like, I know Otto's running, like, he's off running, but he's going to come back and in the afternoon, he's going to be full in it. So like, I like that idea of the work-life balance and collaboration built on trust and work ethic.
Knowing that your teammates understand everything about, what your workload is and vice versa, and being able to pick up when you need to, and communicating, as planners, we generally will know when one of us is going to be out for a while. And like, I had a baby a year and a half ago, and my team took over my second half of my year events, and it was really wonderful to be able to know that my clients, who I've become so close to and we've spent so many hours with, are going to be in great hands, and will have the experience that we had all planned to have. I think another thing with that, with the work-life balance and being a planner, and this is something that I wish that I had put more effort into early on, was just the more you can be intentional and and convey to your clients when your on hours and when your off hours are, the more you are in control of that. And in the beginning, I mean, I would say for the first 15 years, it was just on all the time. Yeah. And we still are. I think weddings are a really unique space to work in because there are so many emotions and there are so many moving pieces and personalities. And I think being able to hold space for that and make sure that people are feeling taken care of at every moment throughout the process is really important. And also, setting boundaries and holding those, it allows for that work-life balance, because what a gift, like you were saying earlier, what a gift to be able to do this with our lives and work with incredible people and have all these new experiences. And it just, to have it be sustainable and have made a career out of it is something very special.
No, it's off the charts, right? Because you're saying we'll see you in Italy in May. Like, I think of that with such excitement. Like, I can't wait. And just to see you guys and like all of that, and that's our jobs, right? That's what we get to do for a living, to support our families and our lives. You got to be kidding me. It is off the charts. It really is. Yeah. So much appreciation for it. So much.
And to model for our kids, you have a dream or a passion and a talent, and see what you can do with it.
Yeah.
That's Sarah, great. How did you end up here? I'm just curious, sidebar, like how did you end up in the events industry again? Like, remind me.
By accident. Isn't that how most of us
happened? Yeah.
We were actually sitting around with a bunch of our partners after an event one time and realizing that the majority of us came from like the hospitality and theater background. I actually started working in a restaurant right out of high school in 2022, and it became a wedding location. And we did, the first year that I worked there, we did, I think, 30 weddings that summer.
Oh, wow.
And I was completely by default the on-site wedding coordinator because nobody else was there all the time, and I was working to put myself through med school. And and then the following season, a couple of the clients' sisters, bridesmaids, family had asked me to do something at a different location, and I started the company then. So,
wow.
So med school. How did you finish med school? How far long before you said this is not for me? Because there's another like epidemiologist or something in the room as well here, so we get you.
Yeah, it was something that I always thought that I wanted to do, and I went on and off for about 6 years pre-med, and had transferred down to UCLA. I started the business up in the Seattle area, and then just realized that I was already doing something that I loved, and had grown the business quite a bit by then, and realized that it was something that I could do. And it's really everything that I love. It's, fashion and photography and food and music and bringing people together and travel. It's just all of these amazing experiential fields that, when I thought of them all individually, I mean, in hindsight, I should have been a photographer, but there can only be so many amazing photographers. That's how I ended up in the business. And most of our teammates are just, teammates just have kind of fallen into events and just fall in love.
That's what's made this such a wonderful space to work in, because it's the same for us. Neither one of us was sitting as little boys going, "Ooh, I'm going to be a wedding photographer one day." You know what I mean? Like, but I think that's what makes this space so interesting and so wonderful. It's people from all over, right? It's a wonderful mix of creatives and all kinds of brains in this space. Good people.
They're great people. And I feel so grateful to have gotten into the business when I did and be in it still, just having seen and been through the transitions and how things have evolved over the last 2 decades. It's really inspiring. It's wonderful. I think now we have so much more just flexibility in being creative and creating new and different types of events with different energies and different components than we did 20 years ago. And so, I think when we started, it was so much more formulaic. It's like, this is how you do a wedding. Here are all the pieces. You tell us how many people and like choose your entree or your flower color and whatnot. And that was a wedding.
Totally.
And great, bringing people together, and everybody had a great time. And I think as time's gone on and we have so much access to each other and all of the inspiration that exists on the internet now, I haven't even gotten into the TikTok wedding thing that's happening, but I hear that it's blowing up. So that'll be our next project. But the marriage
Old
age has gotten
people,
older.
a bunch of old people going, what's TikTok again?
Exactly. And that's one of my biggest fears in this business is just not being able to keep up with all the, the trends, and our clients are staying a similar age and we're getting older. But yeah, when we started, I think our average client was between 22 and 26 years old.
Yeah.
And now they're in their late 20s, early 30s, or early to mid 30s. And with that just comes so much more life experience. And they've been around the block a bit. They've had a few long-term relationships. They have, gone through different iterations of friend groups and relationships with their families. And there are just so many more nuances, I feel like, now in the way that we talk about how to approach the planning process and what things need to be considered. And I found that really fascinating over the years.
How has that shifted? Like, talk more about that. Like, what are the things that are obviously before it was there's a garter toss and then there's a cake cutting ceremony,
DJ, official chicken.
Yeah, these are the formulaic things. But how is that shifting? Like, because obviously as photographers, we see it, right? But we really are showing up and experiencing it, photographing it as it's happening in real time. You're on the back end of it, obviously doing all the planning of it. What does that look like? How's it shifting?
Yeah.
Good or bad? We'll ask next.
I honestly think that it's great. I find that the intention and the personalities that are, very visible throughout this type of a process now are really heartening and just lovely to be a part of. But I think we started to see a lot of shift in design. It was, we've all seen all the different trends that have gone over the years. We don't need to revisit a lot of those, but just the realization that, you could do something different. You could have a long table instead of a circle table, or, that's a very basic level, but, or you could do something in a non-traditional venue and getting married outside. I mean, there were so many more indoor church weddings, and now there's so much more flexibility within those organizations to have pastors or rabbis or whatnot come to your beautiful outdoor location that you've chosen, things like that. I think the financial side of that has been interesting to watch as well, because as people are getting older and have started careers and have become successful, they have a lot more financial input in the event, in the event budget than I think we started out with parents for the most part paying for weddings.
For kids' wedding, totally.
Yeah, I think we can all that resonates with everybody. Just that if you're paying for something, there's a lot more intention and questions and thought that goes into it than if you're spending somebody else's money. So that's been. It can be challenging in some ways. And also I think that it's a really valuable way to approach allocating, this many resources to a wedding weekend.
Totally. But that's the thing I think that shifted. One of the big ones, you just said it, a wedding weekend. It used to be a wedding day. And now it's become these multi-day experiences for a select group of guests, right? Especially in luxury, however you want to call it.
It makes sense to me because, as time's gone on, we've the way that we live and the way that we choose where we live is so different, and we're all so spread out now. And so if you're bringing, it's not like everybody come to, everybody lives within 2 hours of LA, and we're coming to town for a one wedding night. We're going to all these different destinations, and even if you're getting married somewhere that's local, at least 50% of your guests are coming from out of town. And you want to spend time with them. You want to create environments and situations where you get to have that presence and that connection and really foster those relationships.
Yeah, because for this audience, that experience pool is wide, isn't it? They've seen a lot. Like you said, they've traveled, they're professionals, they've experienced, not the first relationship, not kids anymore. And so their resource pool in the head of what's possible and what they want, well, it's at the same time, it's wider and it's more refined. It's more particular, isn't it? It's more like, well, I don't want to just get married. I want to feel like this. And
I want to host, and I want people to feel the way when we have so many of our clients are avid hosters, and they love to have entertain and have people come and spend time at their homes that they've created and these beautiful spaces. And so the wedding weekend has become an extension of that for most of our clients. They come to us wanting this wedding weekend to be an extension of the way that they would care for somebody if they were to come and spend the weekend or however long at their home.
That's a good note.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
It's interesting. Otto and I have been talking a lot in the last couple of weeks about branding and brand message, and how do you create a message and messaging that draws the right client to you. And I hear when you're saying like our clients feel this way, do these things.
Yeah, you know,
it feels to me like, oh, you've got this down. At least you're very intentional about the message that you're putting out, because you're almost every wedding we've worked with you, it's been a very similar feel. I mean, the way you're describing it is exactly what it is. What are the things that you do intentionally with brand and with your messaging that you think helps to draw your ideal client that shares that ethos?
Other than being awesome, of course.
We talk about that a lot as a team, who our ideal client is and how we get in front of them and what sort of relationships are important in that pursuit. And, I think we only take on a number of events a year. And so we're not trying to book 20, 30 weddings a year. And I think that for the most part, our clients find us organically through referrals, through the things that we've been published in. And I like to think that you can see the energy and the feeling of the events that we produce in the imagery that you so beautifully capture and our photographer partners capture on events. But I think that it is very much that collaborative partner that they're looking for. We are expert event producers and designers, and we really appreciate collaboration. We want to have that input and want to do that with our clients, and that they feel a sense of empowerment and belonging. And we get to, run ideas past each other and text, images that we find that are inspiring or whatnot throughout the process. And I think it's a big part of how we select the people that we work with and how they select us.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. You what you just said, like we are selecting.
Yeah.
Like it feels like, I mean, you're interviewing your clients as much as they are interviewing you.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
It is. And it's something that, took us a while to get to that point where we could do that financially, and then B, knew what to look for. I think that's been a big learning curve for us too. And we care so much about what we do, and we spend so much time with our clients and on the back end talking about how to. Yeah, we really do. And their pain is our pain, their joy is our joy. And so to work with people that can be trusting, loving, caring partners in that it makes all the difference. You're working with somebody for, a year to 2 years sometimes, and to have those experiences be what we want them to be and be worthwhile is I think a really important part of our interview process.
Yeah. Yeah. And working with you guys, that's the experience as well. I can see myself shooting something. And when I pause, there's always like one or two of you that's just like, can I make that even better? Like, and it's just like in and out, like little elves, like, boop, and they're gone. They're like, no, you get it. But always just watching them. I love it. Yeah.
And that's something that I feel, in the luxury space, it's something that I've always noticed when you're out in the world and you go to a department store or a restaurant, and that salesperson or that waiter is coming up to you every second and be like, what can I get for you? Can I do this? And it's overwhelming. It's too much. And, you want to have the access to that, but not feel like it's in your face. And I think learning how to read the room, how to observe what's happening for everybody that's involved, the client, their guests, their family members, the venue people, all of our vendor partners. We want to make sure that everyone has what they need so that they can be the most present and do what they were intended to be there for. Yeah. And that's our job, to have eyes on that.
Sarah, this is something you'll find authentically with all of the top people when you talk to them in these episodes. This is a consistent thing. You're a natural host. You know, with Michelle Rager, the same thing came up. We were speaking to Wendy a few days ago, Wendy Hampton. She was saying the same thing to her. You're a natural host. You take care of us. Like, you take care of us at the events. We're like, we're good. But you guys are always there. Like, and that's why you're so successful. That's why you're so good at it, because of that.
Thank you for saying that. I think it's a team. You know, it's having the right, we were just talking about earlier, finding the right people and curating the right partners and places and things that come into a space. It affects how you feel. And at the end of the day, that is my number one goal. I mean, I live for the photos, but it's the way that everybody feels at the event. If you can think back on that day, and you may not remember very many of the details, but you remember how you felt and how present and how connected and how inspired you felt.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
What is the skill? Like, I'm just thinking of you in the room, and you're saying read the room. But what does that mean? What is there a specific skill that you've like intentionally developed, or is that just hours that you're
awareness?
Like, I know, or is it as a team you're saying we're really intentional about looking for this thing in a space?
Yeah, I think there's so much of wedding planning that is, you have to be so in tune with human expression, human emotion, and watching. You can see by somebody's body language. I mean, like, I'm sure you can see now. I'm so nervous being on camera, but but you can tell if somebody is like nervous, or they have an empty glass, and they're sort of, you see that they're sort of looking for they're trying to be engaged in the conversation that they're having, and also trying to figure out where to put their glass down, and just having eyes on that. And you can tell when somebody's leaning in and present in a moment, and when they're half in or when they're completely out, and just mitigating that in whatever way needs to be addressed. It's something that we talk at length about with our clients in the initial phases of the planning process, or the people. Who are their people? Where are they coming from? What are their needs? Are they people that give them energy or take energy away from them? And how can we create situations where those people that are more challenging are really excited about whatever it is that we have them doing, so that they're not changing that energy that we've been building up for our clients, and affecting their ability to be present in their moment.
Yeah, so you're stepping back at that event and looking at the room as a whole, like that, the energy, feeling it, like a conductor, like, ooh, there's some drop there. Somebody's not taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, part of that is just the experience of doing it over and over and over again. And part of it.
I have a very, very clear image in my head now of at the Hotel Ascendancy, at that wedding, that the welcome party in those gardens.
Oh,
was that the welcome party in the gardens? But as you talk now, I can see all five of you kind of like, I see the scene and I see you doing exactly that. It's almost like a Where's Waldo picture, like picking up a glass, talking to a mom, moving someone here, beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, we talk about this often too. And I'm actually, I'm going to have a wedding in about a year and a half from now, which my husband and I got married, but didn't have a wedding as it was pandemic-y times. And just thinking about that, I like, how do we, because I'm never fully present in the moment that I'm in, because I'm listening to some, catering manager tell me something in one ear, and I've got eyes on mother of the bride over here. And, just not even, it just must be so amazing to just be fully in that experience, and being able to create that for people it's my greatest joy. Really.
But that's the thing, we talk about luxury that I think sets it apart, right? We give this example a lot of the first time we went to an Amman, and the whole property, the whole staff, everybody was there to welcome us. It's that little bit of experience that made all the difference. We tell this story like 50 times a year. That's how well it worked. And it's the same level that you guys are giving to all of those guests throughout the weekend, just taken care of, like seamless.
Yeah. And making sure that, all of our partners who are helping us to produce this weekend for our clients know all of those details as well. And, they know the names of the people that they need to know the names of, and what their drink is, or what things to avoid with them, whatever that may be, whether it's a dietary restriction, or, don't mention dollars.
Or a spouse. Yeah. Or a former spouse.
Exactly. And just, just having like Essentia is such a great example of that. And you go to breakfast and they're like, oh, are you going to have your, your latte with coconut milk again? And they're just
I
having
love
that
that.
little touch
Yeah.
points. And it's not, for us, I'm sure you've heard the term quiet luxury it's the in thing this year, events world now. Yeah. I think that's something that has resonated with us for so many years. And it has been how we approach events. And it's so much in the quality of the little details, the quality and the intention behind all of the little details is what allows you to create an environment that feels a certain way and has these moments that people will remember for forever.
Infusing it with story, right? That's where we were talking to somebody else yesterday. That's where meaning is, infusing it with story, right? So an event like this, it becomes more meaningful, more of an experience as you do that.
Yeah. And talking about the intention and the questions and the whys behind all of the decisions that we make throughout the process it makes everything so much more meaningful. And, why are you having a first dance? Is it because you've always dreamt of having that moment? Is it because you love to dance? You love to put on a show? Is it because you feel like you have to? Let's talk about all those things and figure out, like, maybe the sentiment means something to you, but you don't actually want to be up in front of people. How can we create that, that feeling and that moment for you in a different way? And I have a client right now that is terrified of being in front of people, really excited about getting everybody together to celebrate, won't be able to take a step down an aisle. Wow. And so we're working and creating this circular ceremony idea that will allow her to be present in the moment and not, freaking out, being up in front of people. It's
not
just
being looked at like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And how do we create those moments? We had one client one time that it was really important to her to have her birthday on her father's birthday, and he had passed away. Or sorry, her wedding on her father's birthday. And the venue that they fell in love with was booked on that date. And we ended up booking the day before and having the ceremony at 12:01 at midnight, so that her actual wedding.
Yeah, I love that.
And it was so fun. At this roaring cocktail hour, big dance party. And this, the ceremony was so sweet and everybody was crying. They were probably a little drunk by that point, but it was really wonderful. And I think that's what has been so magical to me in the transition of the way that the wedding industry has evolved is just being able to do things because you intend to and because it means something to you and not because you feel like you have to.
Yeah. What I'm struck by, this idea of when you say a ceremony at 12:01, that's what experience is, right? It's something new, because if you've done it before, it's not an experience, right? And we've all done a ceremony in a church, and not that that's wrong, but even if you just put a small twist on the church ceremony, that can be an experience because it's a new sensation, it's a new visual, it's whatever it might be, it's a new smell in an unexpected place, and hopefully it's a good smell.
Yeah, and all because you come to the table with an open mind, you're listening to your client, right? You got that information from them because you listen. You're like, oh, that's important to you, and then you go from there. Yeah,
I think just helping them understand what why they're making the decisions that they're making, and really thinking them through. And I love being able to facilitate that.
Sarah, you've mentioned it a few times already, but collaboration, we talk about it a lot as well. It's really it's everything to us. We treasure it above all for our brand. Personally, it's the whole game in our opinion. And you've brought it up a few times as well. So clearly that's important to you. So how do you're assembling these amazing teams for your events, for your client. It's so thought out, meticulous and experience and ceremonies at midnight. Tell us about your teams then. How do you do that? I mean, tell us about that.
It's one of my favorite parts of the planning process, other than, creating this feeling. I love to have my hand in recommending and selecting the people that will be on that team to produce those moments. And, it's so clear to me working with the two of you how much collaboration is at the forefront of your decision-making process. And you've been so gracious and supportive of us as we've grown too. And I can never say thank you enough for that.
Oh my gosh.
But it's true. There are so many different vendors, partners that are available in all these different categories, and really looking for the one that will elevate the experience that you're trying to create in the best way possible, and will bring something new to the table. Just like you said, it's having a different combination of people working in a different location for all these different events.
Yeah.
Allows us to have that new spontaneous creativity. And I think for us, we look for partners that have the talent and the work ethic that kind of has to be built in, and then just that we enjoy, and that feel like family, and that can help elevate the moment that we're trying to create. I think it's having somebody come in with a different perspective and be like, oh, what if we go and shoot over in this like back of house area that we never even came across, or the light, you know so much about the ins and outs of the lighting and the shooting schedule that we refer to you. Just that trust, I think, is a big deal. And I know it's really hard, especially for people trying to get into this level of the events industry, is how do you put the cart before the horse?
That trust.
Yeah,
Totally.
And so
I was going to ask you about that, because selfishly, I don't want anybody else to work with Gather except James and Schulte.
And we mean that. We really mean that. Everybody listening, we mean it. We really don't want you to work with them.
Not a single other photographer to work with Gather. But for those photographers that are like, for you guys, like, how do you want people to approach you? How does a photographer come and be able to eventually work with Gather? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's tough. It's actually something that I spend a lot of time thinking about, because everybody starts somewhere, and I really value new voices and new talents in the industry, and also you need to be able to trust that they will execute in the way that we expect and that their clients deserve. I think there's some level of, like, if I trust you and you recommend somebody to me, there's that kind of secondhand trust that is built in, and that happens a lot in this space that we're working in. I think especially with destination, if we've if we're working for a local vendor and somebody that we trust has worked with a person in that location, we would feel comfortable recommending them. With photographers, we scour portfolios. I mean, we are looking for all of the moments that are not on your shot list to look and see. In a whole gallery wedding with 2,000 images or however many images they send us, we will look at every single picture and look at the framing and look at the way that the energy is captured. And it's something, one of the reasons we love working with you so much, other than that we just love you and your work, is that you can see energy in your photos. You can see the energy of the moment. It's not just a beautiful picture. I think a lot of people can take a beautiful picture or edit a beautiful picture. I think being able to see that the feeling and the energy that's in that moment is priceless in my opinion.
That's an immense compliment. We weren't fishing for that, but we'll certainly take it. that is what we're going for. Like, that is, like, we see all the work and the time and the intention that goes into producing it from you guys and the client, the whole thing. And we are like that last step. Now we have to capture it. So it's like an immense responsibility. And we wanted to feel like what it felt like, not just like photo, kiss.
Yeah. It's so interesting hearing you say that. And I've had this thought a lot of times in, over the years of when I get the photos back from an event, that's when I feel that. We can spend, I have this vision in my mind based on what our clients are asking for and are looking to achieve. And then we spend all of this time like doing digital mock-ups and collaborating with all of our partners and doing site visits but to see the vision that's up here and know how it felt, it doesn't come for us until we see the images.
That's interesting. So it's not when you stand at the event and you go, ta-da. I'm sure you have little, maybe micro moments, not even. It's when you see
our clients experiencing it the way that we
okay.
Like, I don't feel that way. I feel like, what's my next thing I have to do? Where am I headed?
Yeah, that's interesting, because I hear you say that, like, you really are standing on the outside, right? Like looking, almost, I don't want to call it like a zoo, but you're behind the glass looking in. And as photographers, we're in the middle of it. Like we're actually experiencing, at least that's our goal. We want to go and actually experience.
James is up. James is up a mountain.
Yeah, he's up. I'm in the middle.
James up.
But actually experience what's going on, because and feel that energy, and that's how you're able to get images that have that energy. But I've never thought of it that way before. It's cool.
Just to be able to have that, have that translation happen and be visible in an image, it's so rewarding. And to know that, you can't capture that. You can't fake that. You can't fake being able to see that kind of energy in a photo, and just having that experience is really special.
No, because those feeling, they're in between moments. They're not scripted. And so if you don't have the ability to feel that, like you said, read the room, find them when they're happening, because they're fleeting. They're not obvious.
Yeah.
So that is.
Yeah. And when I think about luxury weddings, that's what I think about are the in-between moments. It's putting everything in place, and you have this perfect plan and all your perfect backup plan A, your backup plan B. And what really to me speaks to luxury is having everything planned in a way that when you're in between those moments, you still feel taken care of, and you still feel that delight and that surprise in every step you take, and being able to sink into that presence and not be, just sink into that presence is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, but it's also a matter of hours in some ways, because all of us sitting here has been doing this. We've put in our 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, whatever hours, right? And at some point, that confidence, it comes from competence, from the time. That's how you're in an event, you can go, and there's so many things going on, and you can go and be present. That's a skill, right?
Yeah.
That's
not seeing things and be like, oh, I see this thing happening. How can I make it better? How can I make it better? How can I make this
to freak out? Yeah.
Amazing. What's what are you excited about? Where are you going this year that you're excited about?
Oh yeah,
Italy with James and Schultz.
Italy with James and Schultz.
You didn't have to be so obvious about it, Otto. I was like,
whatever. Add it to the list of problems, James.
Yes, I will. Noted.
Yeah, we're traveling a lot this year. We traveled a lot last year, and we were talking about work-life balance in the beginning of our conversation, and for me, I'm out here in the middle of the woods in Maine, and I don't hear or see cars, and then I get to travel to these amazing places with amazing people, and that's so just cool. Yeah. And so, like last year, my baby was on 29 flights and she goes everywhere with me. And this year we're going, we'll be in Southern California. We're going to be in Italy for a month. We're going to Belize. We'll be in Mexico. So yeah, it's just an exciting year. It's been a lot of planning, and I'm always excited in the beginning of the year when, I feel like we always are working in the following year for a good chunk of the year that we're in. And so we're actually in that year now, and it feels nice to be here.
Yeah, this is a nice spot to be in. It's at the beginning. You can look at it with enthusiasm and like, here we go. Anticipation is there. You had a bit of a break. Let's go.
Yeah.
Last question I want to ask you about. Like, I was just thinking about how you've built this team and the things that you've done with Gather. And so one of the questions that always comes up in different conversations is like, how do you go about taking the risk that is necessary for the great things to happen? Like, risk is hard to accept. It's hard to like jump off of a cliff. How do you, Sarah, at Gather, and the women at Gather, what's that process look like? How do you look at risk?
Oh, that is a great question. Let me think about that for a second.
Or do you? Are you a risk? Are you risk? Maybe you're risk averse.
No, I'm not risk averse, and I think physically I'm very risk averse. Yeah. You won't get me to do anything that's physically challenging, but in terms of in terms of business and just life experience, I think for us, our goal are these experiences and creating these experiences, and anything that we can can try or do or work towards to have more of that is worth the risk. I think that, for our whole team, we can't imagine doing anything else. And we will keep reinventing our systems and our configuration and all of the things that we do to make this possible. We always touch base on them and work on them so that this stays sustainable. We never want to get to the point of burnout where it's not fun anymore and it's not rewarding. So I guess the risks are worth it because that's the outcome.
Yeah. Yes, I wish there was a way to have all 5 of you on here. It would be a mess, though.
We can do
maybe a happy hour. We can do a happy hour.
Yeah, we can do like a little happy hour. Or when we're together in Italy, maybe we can sit down and have a round table.
Mic up, in the vineyards. We can do a full-on like cooking show or something.
Yeah, we really want to cook dinner for you.
Oh, we really want to eat it.
Yes, absolutely.